my name is Marco. So today in this video, I'm going to explain about my paper on stylistics. So without further ado, let's jump to the explanation. First is cognitive stylistics. So cognitive stylistics analyzes an author's dialect, his individual language traits. Although cognitive psychology and neuroscience do not know how the human minds work, they have detected through experiments on how people behave. And this is not through a personal testimony about that behavior. So this is experiments on science and features of mental behavior that are consistent with a standard theory or model. So I've divided this part into two sections, and the first one is first impressions. So a paradox underlies stylistic research, and most of us do not know much about how we make and utter text, simply because we are so expert at uttering. And the more we make text, the less we have time to be self-conscious about doing so. And committing ourselves completely to the action as it unfolds, we no longer attend to how it takes place. So I've taken a quote from Amy Lowell, and it is, "I do not hear a voice, but I do hear words pronounced, only the pronouncing is toneless. The words seem to be pronounced in my head, but with nobody speaking them." And Amy Lowell says, Amy Lowell uses the word voice and says, like Ozzy, that it comes from something disembodied and it's from nobody. And the second section is impression sustained. Experiments in cognitive psychology and neuroscience have supported the concept of a disembodied mental voice that utters sentences without exhibiting how they were put together. So all verbal utterances, written or oral, are received by the brain and uttered by it in an auditory encoded form. Philip Lieberman explains that during language processing, we access words from the brain's dictionary through their sound pattern. Further, we internally model whatever we expect to hear separately from what we are hearing. That is, we can only understand heard speech by modeling silently the articulatory actions necessary to produce it. And Lieberman explains this, as I have taken the quote, so you can read here. And the second part is feminist stylistics. Feminist stylistics can be defined as the sub-branch of stylistics which aims to account for the way in which gender concerns are linguistically encoded in texts, and which attempts to do so by employing some of the frameworks and models pertaining in the Access Stylistics Toolkit. So feminist approach to stylistics is most closely associated with the recent works of Sarah Mills and Deirdre Burton, and all the authors that I've put here. So in addition to general stylistic questions of why and how, that is, why does the author here choose to express himself or herself in this particular way? So any work of literary here, it means that it's different, so it's based on the author. So how is such and such an aesthetic effect achieved through language? So in conclusion, feminist stylistics therefore focuses on the analysis of text from a feminist standpoint. It points out that there are linguistic correlates of the subordination of women to men by society, and it undertakes not only to reveal these correlates but also to eliminate them. And the third part is about forensic stylistics. So a forensic linguist performs language analysis on written or recorded documents to help solve crimes. A forensic linguist studies dialect, grammar, sentence constructions, phonetics, and other linguistic areas to determine authenticity and ensure correct interpretation. So the writer's choice of available alternate forms is often determined by external conditions and then becomes the unconscious result of habitually using one form instead of another. So this is about a habit that the author uses. Individuality in writing style results from a given writer's own unique set of habitual linguistic choices. Identification and analysis of a writer's choice, for example of his or her style markers, constitute stylistic analysis, which is well established as a generally accepted and peer-reviewed method of author identification in both literary and forensic contexts. So it means that you can see who the author is by the habit. And the last part is corpus stylistics. So corpus stylistics is a field of study that unites stylistics with corpus linguistics. The branch linguistics, which employs computational analysis to a database, or is called corpus, of naturally occurring language from speech or writing. In its corpus, texts have been tagged or annotated for the purpose of linguistic study. So I've put 3 examples here, and I will only read one of them. So while grammar books make us believe that, for example, yet is a trigger of the present perfect, we see that the phrase "Did you vote yet?" used in US election campaigns. So it's not the same. So these are all about my explanation of my paper about stylistics, and thank you very much. And I'm sorry if I made any mistakes.